Welcome back everyone, Mariah Monetize here. In today's video, we're going to be going over some news and what's happening in the cryptocurrency space. And we're also going to be taking a look at the price of Bitcoin. And I'm going to be telling you whether or not I have bought back the Bitcoin that I sold. So let's go ahead and get right into it. So we saw a report that FTX is acquiring to take a stake in BlockFi. We know FTX is bailing some companies outright. I didn't read the details, but something about Voyager, them bailing out Voyager. And then we also know that I believe FTX is providing $250 million of revolving credit to BlockFi. And speaking of BlockFi, BlockFi has increased their interest rates for the month of July. How much have they increased? Whoa, a whopping 0.5%. So for that tier 1 of your Bitcoin, between 0 and 1/10 of a Bitcoin, you're currently receiving, if you are crazy enough to still have your funds on BlockFi, a whopping 3%. You are trusting BlockFi to hold your coins and to have your keys for a whopping 3%. But don't worry, next month you're going to get 3.5%. At this point, unless you have, a loan and it's on there for collateral reasons, I'm not sure why anyone would have funds sitting on any sort of a platform to be getting them 3% a month. 3.5%, not good enough. 5%, no. 10%, then it's probably even worse of a situation. And so the tier 2, which is basically from 0.1 to 0.35, is going from 1% to 2%. And the only time that it really makes a big difference is, but it's also like red flag, right? I mean, I think they're really trying to keep people on the platform because it must be getting pretty bad with how many withdrawals they are receiving. So for anything over 0.35 of Bitcoin, you were earning 0.1%, and now you're earning 2%. So that is a massive percentage increase, right? That's what, like 2,000% of an increase? That's just math off the top of my head, but I think that's somewhat accurate. We're also seeing a rise for new APY when it comes to Ethereum from 3% to 3.5%. All right, and for stable coins, they're all getting a little bit of a bump too. You see it go from 7% to 7.5%, 5% to 6%, and if you own over 2 million, you're going from 4% to 6%. So the withdrawal fees are going to be updated to reflect the current market conditions. They're going to lower the fees on BTC, Ethereum, and stable coins while removing the one free withdrawal per month currently applicable to certain types of digital assets. So by removing that one free withdrawal, they're going to lower their withdrawal fees. So it looks like that one free withdrawal, bye-bye. Now there's going to be a lower fee for all withdrawals. So Bitpanda, which is an exchange, I personally never used it, but there's reports they're laying off hundreds of employees. So Binance recently reported, the CEO said that 70% of our volume comes from institutions. This is good to know because sometimes people ask me, what percentage of Bitcoin trading comes from institutions? I have heard reports of 70% in the past. So it's interesting that the Binance CEO has confirmed on their particular platform that 70% of all trading comes from institutions. I think that's actually really great to know because I think Binance is such a big platform and it's really good sample size of what's probably really happening across the entire cryptocurrency space. And if you're wondering why, crypto Bitcoin is always correlating and trading in very similar directions as traditional markets. It's because there's 70% institutional investing. So Goldman is raising supposedly $2 billion to buy Celsius network assets. There's also reports of Binance to buy Celsius, and we're also hearing that Binance is kind of getting ready, not getting ready. The reports are making it sound like they are speaking with people to see what their options are to potentially file for bankruptcy. What does that mean if Celsius tries to file bankruptcy? To be honest with you, I'm not sure. I think that is a video for another day. So Vault sent out an email for those of you that are still on Vault that the Ethereum blockchain is scheduled to undergo a Great Glacier Network upgrade on Wednesday, June 29th at 7 a.m. UTC. So deposits, withdrawals for Ethereum and ERC20 tokens will be temporarily paused on the platform around 6 a.m. on the 29th. So just something to keep you up to date with there. The number of addresses holding at least one Bitcoin has hit a new all-time high of 869,000 949. So another update here. The word from my source at Goldman Sachs is that there is no Celsius network deal with them. It's fake news according to them. It's not coming from Celsius. So Celsius has not said anything on their Twitter platform. The amount of silence I understand why there wasn't that much communicated with us in the first few days, but now that it's been over a week and we have not really heard anything from them in the past 5 days, not good, not a good sign. I do not like the sign of that. It's starting to feel like the type of communication that the Ponzi scheme companies pulled off in 2018. Talking about BitConnect and USI Tech. So according to these wallet addresses, I saw this tweet, and like I said, we're just trying to gather as much information as possible. Some of it could be true, some of it could be false, and some of it could be somewhere in between. Celsius has brought down their debt by approximately $70 million and increased their net worth to nearly $2 billion over the last few days in their top 15 wallet addresses. Also, I saw this tweet here. It looks like Celsius officially paid back Notion Finance. Not officially announced, but the transaction is there on Etherscan. Let's see what the Celsius coin is doing. So it's currently sitting at 95 cents. We know that there's been a massive attempt for the short squeeze. It's been trending downwards for the majority of today. When we go ahead and look at the hourly chart here, it did recently hit the high of $1.25. So kind of, over the last few days, we've seen a low of about 86 cents. And we have seen a high of approximately $1.60 in that range. So let's see what Bitcoin is up to. Let's go ahead and zoom all the way out to the weekly chart here on Bitcoin. All right, let's see here. So, the weekly chart, it's hard to say when it comes to the TD sequential system. It's really not giving us too much here on the weekly chart. The weekly chart still has 1 day and 6 hours to go. Let's go ahead and take a look here at the daily chart. So the daily chart, it's getting kind of close to this green crossing over the red, which could be a good sign. All right, I do think there's a possibility that we are going to see a dead cat bounce on Bitcoin between the $24,000 to $30,000 range. So here's a possible scenario that I could see happening. On the daily chart, this green crosses over the red, and then we see Bitcoin hit some resistance over here at this moving average, which I could see kind of being at like the $26,000 range. I think that is a possibility. When it comes to the daily chart though, here, we still need a lot to happen to make a higher high. So maybe a few more hours of upside, it pulls back a little bit and makes a higher low, which could be a really good entry point, maybe just below $20,000. And then Bitcoin makes a higher high. So I would kind of be looking for that scenario there. I do like to see this green 6 trading over the green 5, so that is a positive sign there. Let's go and look at lower level time frames. This right here is a 12-hour chart, which is showing some weakness in my opinion. We did not make a higher high. We made a lower high, and now we're seeing a little bit of a pullback. So a 12-hour chart, like what could be setting up as something nice on the daily, the 12-hour chart is, looking more bearish in my opinion. And then also when we look at the 4-hour chart, it also failed to make a higher high, which would have been nice. We could see a little bit of a pullback and then maybe a higher high. It would have been really nice on the 4-hour if we got if we saw Bitcoin go above the high of this candle, which is 21,711, and the high of this candle right here was 21,594. So let's go take a look at the hourly here, which is actually also looking bearish. We have just made a lower low. So going to be keeping a close eye here on the hourly chart as well. This right here is a 30-minute chart, which is also really not looking all that great. So, these lower level time frames are not really looking all that exciting at the moment. This right here is the 15-minute chart, which is potentially going to make a higher high, but we still need quite a bit more, couple hours to play out to kind of see that happen there. This is the 10-hour chart, which really isn't giving us much either. So honestly, I think the dead cat bounce is somewhat likely, but here's the good news. The good news is that I think I'm going to get a pretty sweet entry point on Bitcoin, maybe sometime tonight or tomorrow, probably between today and Monday. I think there could be a really good entry point of Bitcoin kind of pulling back again. So I am going to be keeping an eye on that. I haven't really been looking at the price of Ethereum or the price action. For me, I'm super hyper focused when it comes to Bitcoin and paying attention to see if I want to re-enter my position and kind of get this dead cat bounce. But I do think that Bitcoin is going to kind of still capitulate. This price action that we're seeing doesn't really feel like we have experienced capitulation. So, I mean, I could be very wrong, but that's just kind of my thought there. So this is Ethereum. I want to go ahead and back up to the weekly chart on Ethereum, which, you know, it's not really giving us much. There's really not a ton to see here on the weekly chart. I want to take a look here at the daily chart. So daily chart is looking okay and similar to Bitcoin, and this green is approaching the red. I mean, honestly, Ethereum could cross over. Ethereum could potentially lead the way in this particular situation. Similar thing here where I would expect maybe a dead cat bounce to like maybe the $1,500 range. I think that's a possibility. And see, this is what is actually interesting, and I'm glad that I pulled up this chart. So on the 12-hour chart, you saw that Bitcoin did not make a higher high. Ethereum has, so that's why I think Ethereum could potentially be leading the way in this particular scenario. It has made a higher high. Okay, this is a 4-hour chart, which also has made a higher high, which on Bitcoin's chart, it did not make a higher high. I think Ethereum is potentially going to lead the way. But on the hourly chart, we have also seen a pullback, and Ethereum has made a lower low. So two really important things to see on that 4-hour and as well as that 12-hour, that Ethereum could be leading the way, and kind of giving us an idea of what Bitcoin could possibly be doing next. So that's pretty much all that I have for you guys today. One more thing I'd like to mention before I go is that iTrust Capital is a Bitcoin IRA. So if you want to buy Bitcoin now and not pay taxes on the future when you pull it out at age 59 and a half, there is a massive opportunity with iTrust Capital. So I have my link down below if you want to get started today and get $100 of free Bitcoin. The minimum deposit is just $1,000. And what's really cool is that if you want to trade and not create a taxable event, iTrust Capital is the way to go. So it is a $1 fee to trade within the platform, but anytime that you trade within the platform, it is a non-taxable event. And then when you pull out your gains, when you turn 59 and a half, if you set up a Roth IRA, specifically Roth IRA, you're not paying taxes. It's a really, really great way to invest in Bitcoin and protect your future gains. So that is all that I have for you today. As always, go out there and create a portfolio that you love.